What is going on, guys? Snickel here, and today I have another trophy talk for you. This is going to be for the week of July 4th, 2021. Happy holidays if you did celebrate, and if you didn't, then I'm sorry. But I hope everyone's been great. I hope everyone's been playing games, making progress, and doing everything that they want to do when it comes to gaming and life. But right now, we are going to talk about what games I have been playing over the past 2 weeks. So this series, I think I talk about this about every single time that I do a trophy talk, and I feel like I am always providing some sort of explanation, whatever. But this is a series that I typically would do weekly. I think I'm more leaning towards the bi-weekly just so that it gives me time to make progress in games, just because I feel like I'm not making any progress at all when it comes to things. But with that being said, again, talking, in the future, we're talking once every other week. That can be an expectation. Everything else, maybe once a week. I don't know. I don't want to get too ambitious, but at the same time, we're probably going to be looking at once every other week for this type of video. So keep an eye out for that. So anyway, what have I been playing? With all of that ranting out of the way, what have I been playing? I've actually been making pretty good progress in some games and getting things done. So to start off, I have been working towards Assassin's Creed Valhalla, trying to finish up the mastery challenges, getting golds in all the mastery challenges. Now, I'm not sure if I talked about this in the last trophy talk here, but these mastery challenges are actually kind of interesting because they're kind of difficult. They're not like super difficult, like to the point of nobody can do them. But from what Assassin's Creed Valhalla is, and what from Assassin's Creed has been in the trilogy that they've made from Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, I would say that these challenges are up there with one of the most, if not the most difficult thing you'll have to do trophy wise for this trilogy. So I am actually kind of enjoying playing them. It is a little bit of a challenge. You have to utilize like every single enemy that's on the map. You have to get kind of lucky, and it just takes repetition to kind of get through these. I am going to be making, or I am making, full guides for every single challenge. So if you need help with any of those, you can check on the channel. There's a playlist for all of the mastery challenges, and again, I'm working through them. I believe I'm on the third like totem now or whatever, so I'm almost halfway there. I think I'm technically halfway there. I don't know, but there's 15 challenges total. I've done 7 of them, so 7 to 8 is going to be halfway. So I'm making progress getting there. Like I said, I am kind of having fun doing them. But if you are looking at getting into those mastery challenges, they can be a little bit of a pain in the ass. From the last trophy talk, I believe I didn't finish it yet, but maybe I did. I'm not sure. I did finish up the Wrath of the Druids DLC fully, so I'm done that. So once I get done these mastery challenges, I am kind of done with Assassin's Creed Valhalla for now, unless other DLC is released. Oh, another big announcement that I do want to make. I, again, don't know if I talked about this in the last trophy talk, but I was able to get a... I don't know why my computer's making those noises, but cool. I was able to get a PlayStation 5. I am grateful that I was able to get a PlayStation 5, but at the same time, I'm not sure when I'm going to be playing it because I have so many PlayStation 3 games that I need to get through, or that some of them I need to get through because of server shutdowns. Others I want to get through just to get through. So I don't know when I'm actually going to be playing my PlayStation 5 when it comes in regards to playing backwards compatibility, because I know everyone's going to be like, well, Snickel, you could just play your PlayStation 4 games on your PlayStation 5, so you don't even need your PlayStation 4 anymore. Technically true, but I'm going to end up keeping my PlayStation 4 plugged in, and the PlayStation 5 as well, just because I have a bigger hard drive on my PlayStation 4. So if I'm going to be boosting games or doing things, I want to be able to download all of those games, or as many of those games as I can have downloaded at a time. So I will be playing PlayStation 4 games on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 games on the PlayStation 5. I've been in this kind of weird conundrum where I'm like, well, games that came out on PlayStation 4 but now are coming out on PlayStation 5, do I play the PlayStation 5 one or the PlayStation 4? I don't. I think I'm going to be leaning more towards the PlayStation 4. I really haven't come, or sorry, the PlayStation 5. I really haven't come across anything like that other than games like, maybe if I ever get around to it, Watch Dogs Legion or Immortals Phoenix Rising, or really anything like that. I'm obviously going to be playing the PlayStation 5 version. I would have done Valhalla on the PlayStation 5, but your boy didn't have a PlayStation 5 at the time, but now I do. I have no plans of like a first PlayStation 5 game to play, nothing like that. I do own a few. There's a few games that I have in mind. There's a few games that I want to get still, but nothing is like super high priority for me right now just because of all the PlayStation 3 server shutdowns happening, all the PlayStation 3 games that I want to finish, and so on and so forth. And then obviously I have a lot of PlayStation 4 games that I want to play, but when you compare PlayStation 4 multiplayer to PlayStation 3 multiplayer when it comes to trophies, they are not even comparable. I know that there are some PlayStation 4 games that are a complete bitch, but comparing my PlayStation 3 backlog multiplayer wise to my PlayStation 4 backlog multiplayer wise, it's not even comparable. So hopefully I'll be able to get through some of my PS4 games faster. But anyway, that's me talking and rambling into the future. Just wanted to let you guys all know that I did get a PlayStation 5. There may be PlayStation 5 content. Who knows? Just, I guess, keep an eye out for these videos or trophy guides. Or if you want to follow me on Twitch, there's a link for that down in the description below. I try to stream over there at least once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times, depending how I'm kind of feeling or what games I'm playing. Because if it's a game that I'm making guides for, I typically don't like to stream it. But if it's a game that I'm just playing to have fun, or I'm doing some grinds, or I'm doing this and I'm not making guides, then I typically do stream it, which will probably be the case with the next few games that I play. But anyway, yes, finishing up the Mastery Challenges in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, having a lot of fun playing. And, would I ever not enjoy Assassin's Creed at the time being? No. In the future, possibly. But at the time being, I'm fine with it. And yeah, I'm still planning on doing all of the stacks and everything for every single Assassin's Creed game at some point. So that's that. Then up next, we have a little bit of a tricky game here, as some would say, my tricky trophy of the past few weeks. I did get the platinum in MLB The Show 18 on the PlayStation 4. Had a lot of fun playing the game. There wasn't really any multiplayer to get through. There was a lot of, or there was only the single player Road to the Show franchise mode, few random things. A majority of these trophies you're going to get while just doing your first game that you play through. So just naturally playing the game, you're probably going to get some of these, depending what your skill level is and experience with baseball games. But for the most part, you're looking at getting a majority of these, if not, or I don't want to say all of them, but a majority of them within the first few games that you play. When it comes to the franchise mode, there's not really any hard trophies. They'll take at most 30 minutes to get all of them, so those are fairly easy. The only thing that does suck is you do have to make 2 characters for the game. You do have to make a pitcher and a fielder, because there is a trophy for Road to the Show for getting your first win as a pitcher, and then also hitting your first home run as a major league player. And there's also a little bit of a weird trophy where you have to get called up to the majors in the manager's office. So basically you have to get called up mid-season and not at the end of the season. So you kind of have to play really good your first season, make it to AAA, tank at the end, stay in AAA, and then play really good into your next season. And then you'll get called up into the majors. Because if you play really good your first season, you'll end up getting called up possibly in the off season, which again doesn't get you your trophy. The other trophy, which I talked about in my platinum video, if you guys haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's oh my goodness, it's on the channel. But the last trophy that I had to go for, which I didn't think was going to be as hard as it was the trophy called Goodbye Old Friend, which is while batting accidentally break your bat. I was having a lot of troubles with this trophy, and I think it's just the lay of the land, man. When there's a trophy related to something specific like this, you will never freaking do it. But if there was no trophy for breaking a bat, I would have broken my bat 20 times throughout me playing the game. So a little bit of a pain. I ended up getting it in the retro mode. You can do that, and I found that to be a little more controllable in order to break your bat. But yeah, that was just a pain. But yeah, MLB 18, the show is done. Looking into the future, obviously, we're going to be going straight into the next game at some point, which is MLB 19, the show, which is a little bit of a harder platinum, if you could tell by the percentage. But yeah, be going into that, playing some of the single player, obviously up first, worrying about all of the Diamond Dynasty and stuff like that later on, and kind of just playing that for fun. That's the last show game platinum wise that's going to be kind of a pain. Other than that, MLB 20 and 21 are very easy games, so I'm not looking at having any troubles with them. And then in the future, when it comes to these games, I'm obviously going to be playing the newest iteration in the franchise, but what am I going to do for past games? I've talked about this with the Tiger Woods games. What's kind of the goal here? And obviously, when I get all of the games platinum that I can get platinumed, I do have one game on my list that is unobtainable, which is MLB 14 to show. So, at some point, I would like to go back and kind of get all the trophies that I can get. Because if you look through here, there's a decent amount of trophies, and some of them are ultra rare. So it would be nice to kind of just go back. And then when it comes down to it, it's like, okay, well, now I'm not going to be able to do these two, trophies at the bottom. And it is what it is. But if I can do the rest, then that's fine with me. And, I'll call it a day. And then, possibly going back and doing all the other ones in the same kind of structure, just because there are some of these games, there are some ultra rares in here that you're kind of like, why is this an ultra rare? Like, uh, what? So, yeah, possibly at some point going back and doing that, but same Lou as I've talked about with the Tiger Woods games, where it's kind of going to be like a last case scenario, right? Like if I have nothing else to do, all right, let's load up the old show games. But for the time being, I'm going to be obviously focusing on games that I can get done and I want to get done, rather than just kind of playing games to play games and earn some ultra rare trophies. Because when it comes to unobtainable games, very touchy subject in the community. Me personally, I don't really care, because I'm not a fan of people who create 100% accounts. If you create an account and you want it to be a 100% account, more power to you, right? But for me, I'm not a fan of it. It's something that I don't have. It's something that I wouldn't create a new account to achieve, just because I think that it just adds another layer of stress to playing games. Games are supposed to be fun. You shouldn't have to, play a game on an alt account for 5 hours to determine if it's something that you want to play or something that you can play because of trophies. I think that that's just a little too much stress to put on yourself. So when it comes to unobtainable games, I think it's fine, even if you don't have them on your list, to put them on your list if you want to just experience the game. Whatever, what it lowers your completion percentage. It's something you're never going to put on a resume, something that no one's ever going to judge you on. And if someone does judge you on it, then just call them a nerd, because it literally doesn't matter. But anyway, side rant over. MLB 18 the show platinum done. Moving forward in the franchise, and then at some point, someday, maybe when I'm like 55 years old, we'll move back in the franchise, do some retro gaming, and get some retro trophies. Um, but that's that. Next on the list, we have Operation 7 Showdown, which I was able to complete. I believe it was on the 2nd. So, about a week ago from today. This game does go down on, I believe, August 9th or something like that. It was delisted in June. It was a free game. Cats and I hopped on it because the servers were down and then they got put back up and they were spotty. So Cats and I probably put a total of maybe 4 or 5 nights into this game. Really not that much. Well, I guess that's kind of a lot, but 4 or 5 nights into this game, maybe when it comes to match time, 15 to 20 hours. Not really a lot. And we were able to finish everything up. There were a few trophies that were kind of like a pain that you had to grind out, but they weren't the end of the world. All of the distance-based trophies kind of suck, just because you weren't naturally going to get them, other than maybe the walking and the sprinting you may have possibly, but driving 100 kilometers in vehicles you weren't going to do, because the maps are fucking tiny and it's annoying to drive the vehicles around. And God forbid you run into a fence that's breakable, or you hit someone else's vehicle, it explodes in 2 seconds. And then there was other things like getting 300,000 damage to the target. That was a little bit of a pain. Healing yourself so many times, kind of sucks. Um, and then getting kills while you have less than 5% health. There ends up being a workaround where you can buy a sniper rifle and get that pretty easily. You can kind of tie that in with your other 100 kill trophies, but all in all, there's nothing that the game hides, right? All of the trophies are pretty straight to the point. Just comes down to the time, comes down to playing with somebody else, and it comes down to if you're lucky enough to find that person and not come across randoms, because there were a decent amount of randoms, because you do have to search public lobbies in order to play. But with that being said, the game's done. I'm not going to say I enjoyed it, but it's over with. And then, that's another Operation 7 game done. The last one, hopefully, hopefully we don't get another one. But yeah, And then up last, we have a game that I've been working on for the past few weeks with Waves, which is Need for Speed Shift to Unleash. So I hopped on probably about a week or two ago with Waves, and I got him a majority of the online trophies, that being, the DLC trophies, a few random trophies, and then yeah. So the one trophy I couldn't get him because we need another player is Intercept and Pursue, because you need 3 players for either the online catch-up pack or the online catch-up duel event. I think it's the online catch-up pack. You need 3 players for that. So that kind of sucks. So I need to hop on and do that and help him with that. But the big thing that we were working towards over the past week was the King of the Hill trophy, which is to win your first driver duel championship crown. So we went through the process, or I went through the process of creating an Excel file that had what accounts needed to race who was doing what, if you had to race or quit or whatever. So I structured that whole thing one night after I helped Waves get all the other trophies, and then we executed it. It took us 2 nights to get through everything, and we really didn't play that much, maybe 3 or 4 hours a night. Um, that's all it took for us to get through and kind of structure it all up. So we did that. We were able to get through the driver duel championship last night. So we finished that up, got that trophy done. That's one of the hardest, if not the hardest, trophies to get in the game. And then after we did that, we AFK'd the 10 hours online, which again, really easy to do. You just set up an event, a long time attack or time something. I think it's time attack, long time attack event, which ends up being a 20-minute race. And you guys just rubber band R2 and your thing drives by itself. And then when the 20 minutes is up, you go back to the lobby and you wait 2 minutes and it loads you right back in. So pretty easy to do. There are a few other ultra rare trophies in the game, looking through games like earning 100 badges or winning 75 career events on the hard difficulty, or completing 250 event objectives, or earning $10 million total during your career, or beating all the rivals, or having at least one car from each manufacturer in your garage, or mastering every location at night, or mastering every location during the day. So yeah, there is a decent amount of more ultra rare trophies when it comes down to it. Nothing that I'm too worried about. Recently, platinumed and finished up Gran Turismo 5. So comparing Gran Turismo 5 to Shift to Unleashed, or Need for Speed Shift 2. I hate calling it Shift to Unleashed, but comparing it to Need for Speed Shift 2, nothing that I cannot handle. So I'm looking forward to finishing that up, moving into the future. So anyway, that's what I've been playing in the past few weeks. What do I plan on playing in the upcoming weeks? So obviously my goal is I want to finish the Assassin's Creed Valhalla Mastery challenges as soon as possible so I can be done with the game as a whole. When I get done with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I'm going to be going full force on getting the Need for Speed games done before the servers go down completely. So I'll be working on Need for Speed Shift. Need for Speed The Run, I only anticipate me taking a few days because I've done all of the difficult stuff in the game, so I don't think that's going to take too long. And then Shift 2 is going to take me the longest, I believe, so I'm going to be trying to do that. I have until the end of August, I believe that's when they go down, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check that. Yes, August 31st. So I have about 2 months, I would say, to get that done. Yeah, roughly about 2 months to get that done. So nothing too crazy. Definitely going to be working towards that, but I'm expecting Shift to take me probably a week to get through the run, maybe half a week, and then putting all my time into Shift 2 after that. So that's my goal for single player. I am going to be doing some multiplayer games in the next few weeks. The main ones being Max Payne 3, and then after Max Payne 3, working on Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, I'm not going to be going like hardcore on Grand Theft Auto 5 because of the servers aren't going down until December. Only the shark cards go down in September, so I'm not too worried. But I do want to log on, see what kind of cash I have, cash flow, see what I need for that 8 million trophy, and then kind of go from there. But my goal is going to be working through the 3 Need for Speed games on the PlayStation 3, getting them done. Max Payne 3 multiplayer. Then I'm going to be probably trying to platinum Max Payne 3 after I do the multiplayer, and then I'll be working on Grand Theft Auto 5, getting all the heist DLC done, rest of the multiplayer, and then finishing that up and getting that platinum. So those are probably going to be my next 5 games that I'm going to be working towards when it comes to platinuming games. I know that there's going to be a lot of games that are going to be coming out in September, October, November, December, all those times for the PlayStation 4 new games. Will I play them? Who knows? We're talking in the future here. Who knows? Because I'm going to be trying to focus on getting all of these PS3, stupid PS3 games done that I should have gotten done years ago. Which kind of sucks. I've said this before, and it is what it is. But to me, server shutdowns are a blessing in disguise if done properly, because it sucks that the servers are going down and people can't get the trophies, and sometimes the server shutdowns happen very fast without any sort of announcement beforehand. But they are a blessing because they give you games to do. They give you a structure of games to pick and how you should play games and when you should play games. Like, if you want to get these games done, if you want to do the Need for Speed games on the PlayStation 3, now is the time. You're not going to have any other time. Now is the time. Same thing with Max Payne. Same thing with Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, you either do it now or never. Pick one. So that's why I'm hoping to get done Valhalla sooner rather than later. If Valhalla takes me too long, if I can't get Valhalla done before this weekend, then I will probably end up shelving the Valhalla Mastery challenges until and we're starting to work towards the Need for Speed games. Just because next week I am going to be I'm going to be here Monday and Tuesday, but I'm going to be, I'm going to be out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I am going somewhere. So that's going to be a week of kind of missing out on stuff. Unless I bring my PS3, which I mean, I guess I could. It's probably not a good idea. Probably not a good idea. But yeah, I am going to be focusing on trying to get these PS3 games done because that was already my focus, but now I really want to focus on it. So that's what I've been playing. That's what I plan on playing. Let's get into some of these comments. I don't want this trophy talk to be too long. I know last week I said the same thing and I ended up rambling for 52 minutes. So that's always pretty cool to do, but now ain't the time. Because I need to end this trophy talk because I need to get back to the Assassin's Creed Valhalla Mastery challenges. I need to beat one more before I go to bed tonight. That's the goal. But up first we have Dex TV saying, "Dig it, Snickel. Can't wait for the next trophy talk." Well, here I am. Here I am, Dex. Here I am. And when the next one comes, I don't know. But here I am. Then up next we have Waves 400. When are you announcing the Snickel Remastered? It's going to be a little while, but at some point I may remaster myself, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to save this GMZ comment for the end just because it's a long boy. I know you apologized for it and everything. Don't apologize. You can write a 5-paragraph essay. Just make sure it has APA formatting. Next up we have Gaming Boy 79. Hey Snickel, me and my friend are looking for people to do the GTA 5 PS3 heist. Done. I'm already in the Discord. Okay, Gaming Boy, I'm just seeing this. Sorry. If you send me either a DM or at me in the server, okay, fuck. Okay, either DM me or at me in the server. Let me know. I'm probably not going to be starting Grand Theft Auto 5 for maybe possibly up to like a month because I want to get done the Need for Speed stuff, but I'm definitely interested if you guys are going to do that. If not, I'm going to be doing it with random people. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Then up next we have JGM saying, another thing about remasters is that a lot of times it's shareholders being impatient and wanting profits now, which is why we're getting GTA 5 remastered for the second time, since Rockstar would rather put 10 or so teams on one huge game instead of doing smaller titles like Midnight Club or Smuggler's Run in between GTA and Red Dead's. Or they're gauging interest in possible continuing the franchise, like how THQ Nordic was throwing out remastered games left and right, including Darksiders to Blob and the Red Faction games that started the whole remastered meme. That is true. After they acquired so many IPs from the old THQ after it went bankrupt, because of that, we got 2 new Darksiders games, a Destroy All Humans remake, and rumored to be doing a new Red Faction installment as well. This is true. So I do like the idea of remasters to an extent. I do not like continuously rolling out remasters, especially for games where it's already accessible on the PlayStation 5, because My big concern is we're getting games like The Last of Us remastered on the PS5, which is basically going to be running on, I believe, the Last of Us 2 engine. That's the that is the what's the word I'm looking for? That's the leak that got put out. That's the news that we have, right? That's what they've been talking about, is they want to make a Last of Us remaster that has, or remake that has, The Last of Us 2 come blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter, man. Like, the way I look at it is, no one is going to buy The Last of Us 1 just because you remade it to feel like The Last of Us 2. The Last of Us 1 is The Last of Us 1. We've talked about this in the podcast. I believe in this. This is something Waves talks about. This is something Brian talks about. This is something that we all talk about, we all agree with. The reason for playing certain games is not only to experience the story, but to experience the way that the game plays itself, right? If you go and you play Grand Theft Auto 3, okay? Imagine you play Grand Theft Auto 3. We've all probably played Grand Theft Auto 3. Claude does not say a word. Imagine Rockstar remakes Grand Theft Auto 3 and now Claude talks. It's not the same game. It's not Grand Theft Auto 3. Those things and those features and the way the game plays and stuff like that is the reason why and what makes games, certain games, games. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's a detriment, okay? And another good example I can give is like Shadow of the Colossus. So Shadow of the Colossus comes out on the PS2. They do a remake on the PS3 where they basically port it, more or less. They give it HD graphics, but it's essentially a port. Same controls, same all that. Then Shadow of the Colossus comes out on the PS4, and it's just called Shadow of the Colossus. No one knows it's a remake. No one knows it's a remaster. It's obviously a remake, but they don't call it the Shadow of the Colossus remake. It's just Shadow of the Colossus. Kind of cool. Like it. Dig it. Whatever. But they changed things around and they made the controls more modern. And again, this is great because controls change over time, just like the whole point of making remakes is because graphics change over time. The ability to make games look better and feel more realistic is something that we didn't have, or wasn't in this it wasn't in the industry 20 years ago or whatever, when some of these games were made. Even 5 to 10 years ago, this technology wasn't there. So having the technology now and updating games to have it, I feel like to an extent is good. But again, to an extent, it can be a detriment because then you are ruining the experience of the game. Imagine they make a Grand Theft Auto 3 remake and Claude talks, and then you also have free aiming. Well, that just ruins the experience of what Grand Theft Auto 3 was. And yeah, people probably bitch about it left and right. And yeah, people would probably like if you had free aiming and if Claude did talk, but those experiences are what makes some games games. So, um, I don't really, to some extent, I don't really understand remasters and remakes fully. Yes, I believe it is a cheaper way for a company to get an IP out there to gauge the interest in it. Don't get me wrong. But the downside to that is a lot of the times when that's what you're doing, you're putting a game out that people have already played and people have already experienced. So when you have people that have already played and experienced games and they see a remake or a remaster, there's no reason for them to buy it again because they've already experienced it. So it's kind of hard to actually gauge the demand in a franchise when you're putting a game out that already came out in the franchise. Which is what I don't understand about like what's happening with The Last of Us. So many people have played The Last of Us, right? So many people. Why are you making a remaster of a remaster because you want it to play like The Last of Us 2? I can guarantee you that game is not going to sell. Maybe over time it will, but immediate sales are not going to make it. It's like the whole thing with Grand Theft Auto 5 being, made for the PlayStation 5. Like, why? Like, why would you do that? So now you're gonna have two different GTA Onlines. Almost had three different GTA Onlines, but you guys are planning on shutting down the PS3 one. Almost three different GTA Online servers because you have it between three different console generations. That's what I mean by servers. That's not necessarily obviously how it works, but you have three. You can have a person on the same account, have the same name, have three different Grand Theft Auto Online profiles, one for the PS3, one for the PS4, and one for the PS5. That's crazy. Just leave it on the PS4. If you want it to look better, put a patch out for the PS5 and do it like that. The thing is, they just port it and give it a new trophy list and whatever, because guess what? Less work, maybe we'll make some more money. If not any change in work, it's the same shit copied and pasted, which is kind of annoying. I also do not like the big thing that's going on with games, which again, I've talked about before in the podcast. I'm not sure if I've talked about this on the Trophy Talk. You guys can let me know what you think about it in the comments below, your opinions. But I personally don't like the direction that games go nowadays, where they're trying to push and be like a new medium, where every game has to be a groundbreaking game and every game has to be the next so-and-so killer or the next, I'm going to win all the awards. It was so nice before when we just got games coming out left, right, and center. And there was just people made games because it was something that they wanted to make. They weren't making games because they wanted to be known as the Destiny Killer or they wanted to win every award under the sun. Like, that was just something that came with it after you made a good game. So many of these games that are put out nowadays, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pull the strings. They're trying to do this. They're trying to pander to what the awards. We'll get an award if we pander and we put in this story, because this isn't exactly what we want, but like, it's going to win us awards. Like, doing that stuff, I feel like is just, is kind of what's ruining games, because what made games fun is people just made games for what they wanted to make, man. It wasn't about we wanted to win this award or we wanted to win that award or we wanted to kill this franchise or kill that franchise. It was just making games to make games. And I've talked about that when it comes to multiplayer games. The best multiplayer games are games that weren't made for multiplayer. Games that were just made and they were and now they're turned competitive. A great example of that is a game like Rocket League. Rocket League was such a basic game, and Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Batter powered battle cars was out on the PS3. It played like garbage. People played it online, but there was no competitive gaming at the time. And then as the game progresses, as the developer gives more time, as the developer sees what the potential is from a structure that they've already created, now it's something that, is a big esport. And it's crazy, but like the people that try to make these franchises that kill other franchises, the second you make a game to try to kill another game, you've literally shot yourself in the foot. You've set yourself back 25 steps from where you were if you say, we're trying to be the so-and-so killer. It's happened time and time again. There's never really been a game that said, I'm going to kill this game, and it's came out and it successfully killed this game. The biggest franchise I can think of right now that did this, but I don't know if they necessarily said it when it came out, is Call of Duty. The big game, the big first-person shooter before Call of Duty was Medal of Honor. That was the game. Then Call of Duty comes out, and Call of Duty was just a single-player game, chilling. And then COD 4 came out, put in that multiplayer, and guess what? At that point, Medal of Honor was underground, but it wasn't like Call of Duty came out and when they were, they came out and they're like, we're about to nuke fucking Medal of Honor. That franchise, we're smoking that franchise. No, they just made the games that they wanted to make. And guess what? At the end of the day, Activision's Call of Duty was selling better and were better games than Medal of Honor. And that's what it comes down to. That's why it's a more liked franchise, and that's why there's more of them around nowadays. Because of that. So the whole remaster thing is just it's a touchy topic, because I just feel like if you're selling remasters to gauge if there's interest in your franchise, that's not always the best thing to do, because a lot of the people have already played these games that you're remastering. If you're remaking completely different ball game, right? You remake Demon Souls on the PlayStation 5, it probably sold really good. Now, granted, there was no games on the PS5, which is probably why it sold. But when you're talking about a remake, people that played Demon Souls on the PS3 see a remake on the PS5 that has 4K, 60 frames, this, that. That's amazing, because Demon Souls on the PS3 was a very early PS3 game, really chunky, choppy, not the best, muddy looking game. So to get it with, upgraded graphics, upgraded physics, this, that, and other, lighting, all that, it's a new experience. Compared to a remaster, when all you're doing is just, instead of, 720p, we're going to give you 1080p now. It's like, okay, cool. Well, It's literally the same experience, other than I get a few extra pixels on my screen. So it's hard to gauge like what people or their interest in a franchise just from remastering something that isn't even that old. And the whole remaster between PS5 for PS4 games is something that I truly do not understand, because other than being greedy, I truly don't understand it, because PS4 games are backwards compatible, or a majority of them are backwards compatible on the PlayStation 5. So as long as you can have the PS4 game, you can play it on the PlayStation 5. So are those extra pixels actually a make it or break it for you? You're telling me you wouldn't play Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation 5 because it doesn't have a physical PlayStation 5 release? That's fucking horseshit. And the whole difference between the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 generation to the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 generation is the PlayStation 4 wasn't backwards compatible to the PlayStation 3. So making games like The Last of Us Remastered was a better idea, because people that owned the PlayStation 5, because at the end of the PlayStation 3's life cycle, it got traction. Sony got traction and they beat the 360. So going into the next generation, they had the right foot forward. They were in the lead. So guess what? People that didn't have the PlayStation 3 and now had a PlayStation 4 and they are heard of The Last of Us, the only way they could play it is either by A, buying a PlayStation 3 and buying The Last of Us, or B, buying the remastered version, which came out on the PlayStation 4. Like, that made sense because the PlayStation 4 wasn't backwards compatible. The whole PlayStation 5 backwards compatibility thing with the PlayStation 4 makes no sense to why we should be getting remasters of PS4 games on the PlayStation 5. And maybe we won't get remasters, but even remakes, we should not be getting remakes of PS4 games on the PS5. Mainly looking at you, The Last of Us. Mainly looking at you. Even though it's technically a PS3 game, it's out on the PS4. So, I don't know. Not a fan. Okay? Not a fan with the whole backwards compatibility and making remakes and remasters for the PS5. Not a fan. I mean, it's like, there's a lot of games that are coming out in between console right now, and it's really irritating because, like, why, right? So a game I'm thinking about right now, which is a game that I'm really intrigued to play, but it's pissing me off that it did this, was Mortal Shell. Mortal Shell comes out on the PS4, right? And months later, now it's out on the PS5, and it's called Mortal Shell Enhanced Edition. Like, why did we have to do that? Why didn't you just keep the PS4 release and give a PS5 patch? Like, why? Your game is already backwards compatible. Why? It's greed is what it is, but, like, why? Other than greed, why? That's what I want to know. Anyway, thank you for the comment, JGM. You always provide very interesting topics, and I do appreciate them. I like to have a little brain blast here and there. Let me get a little sip while we get into the last topic here from GMZ. So let's do this. I'm sorry if I sound negative whenever I write a comment to create a topic to discuss, but there's stuff I'd like to get out of my system. Completely understandable. Say what you need to say. I like negativity because it gives a discussion point to how you can then create things positive. If you're positive all the time, then you got nothing to work on. If you're always positive Polly, you're always positive this, positive that, blah, blah. If nothing is ever negative, you never got nothing to work on. So, you gotta get the negativity out. And this time I've been suffering from bad games or games I'm not enjoying. When I don't enjoy a game, the 4 out of 10 platinum difficulty turns into a 7 or 8 out of 10. It's like, how can I play a game that I'm not enjoying? You may ask, then why did you buy it? It's because I misjudged it and bought it, and I thought it would be a fun game. For example, Rage on the PS3. I tried it and tried to enjoy the game, but man, the game is boring. Good visuals all around, but the game feels dead to me, and it turns me off. It has no story. Just talk to this guy, gives you a mission to do so on and on, making the platinum very hard to endure. Also, Shadow of Mordor, especially when you attempt the harder trophies, You don't give it your all when you don't love the game. I end up abandoning the game with the only God knows if I'll ever return to it or not. I have Platinum Soul Calibur 5 and MK9, Binary Domain, and several others. All of these harder plats because I love the games. I gave them 100%. Sorry about the long ass comment, but how do you handle such situations? So, if I'm understanding this correctly, you're wondering how to handle a situation of a game that you do not like, but you want to get the platinum in. So, there's a few things that you need to kind of keep in mind when you're doing things like this. So, the first thing is what type of game you're playing, because and this happens to every game, but there are some games where you kind of need to invest yourself a little bit, and if you ever pull out, the time that you invested in sometimes can be wasted because you forget certain things about the game or certain this or certain that. So that's one thing. An example of this is a game like The Witcher 3. You put 5-10 hours into The Witcher 3, you make good progress in the story, you put it down for 2 weeks, you come back, you have to relearn everything that you learned in those 5 to 10 hours. So you're talking another 3 hours to 2 or 3 hours to, go through and figure out what's going on possibly. So that's one thing that you need to stay focused on. Now, what I would suggest is, and I've been talking about this with Brian because personally, Brian has Assassin's Creed Valhalla on his list, but he doesn't want to be bothered to play the 100 hours or whatever that you have to play to get the platinum back to back. So, what my take is on games like that, games that you're not enjoying but you want to get through, and this is just anything in life in general. If you do not enjoy something, the best way to deal with it, if you need or want to get through it, is with moderation. And what I mean by that is, if you want to get through a game and you're not enjoying it, like for instance, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the only way you're going to get through this game is either you buckle down and you do it back to back and you just push through and you get it done. But if you do that, you're not having fun. Just like you said, James, you're not having fun. You're playing the game. It's a 4 out of 10, but it turns into an 8 out of 10 because it feels like a slog. The other way of dealing with stuff like this is, again, moderation. So if Assassin's Creed Valhalla is going to take you 100 hours to get through, you sit down and you tell yourself, every week, I'm going to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla 1 or 2 nights a week. And I'm going to make progress. And whatever progress I make it. And if I'm not having fun, I put the game down and I come back the next week. But the thing you need to remember is the coming back part. Because if you don't come back and you do not take that moderation, then it's dropped altogether. Then you're not making progress at all. So if you want to make that progress, but you're not enjoying it, you have to do it in moderation. Because that's the only way that you will enjoy it. Because the reason you do the moderation is you do it, you have the drive to do it one day, right? And then maybe you play it that day, and at the end of the day, you're like, man, I can't take it anymore. This game's so fucking boring. I can't do it. So you put it down for a few days, and maybe after a few days, you do some thinking on it, or maybe you're like, man, I have the itch to play that again, and you pick it up, and it's just the same thing, same process. Then you play it for that day, and you're like, God damn, why did I want to pick this game back up? This is garbage. So that's just anything. And like, that's even when it comes down to boosting, that's how I deal with it sometimes too, because I cannot. Most people will probably ask Snickel, how are you able to get through all, like, boosting all these boring ass games like Operation 7? And the way that, Katz and I dealt with Operation 7 was like, yeah, we could have sat down one week and banged this shit out. We could have done this shit in 3 days and been done with it, right? But at the end of those 3 days, I would have wanted to jump out my window. I would have wanted to jump out my window during those 3 days while I'm playing through those 3 days. But guess what? Operation 7 takes us 3 weeks to do because we take it in moderation and we play it 2 times a week or whatever. And we don't play it for 8 hours at a time. We play it for 3 or 4 hours and then we call it a night. Or we play it for a few hours and then we say, okay, I'm going to go play a game that I want to enjoy playing. So that's the way that I've dealt with it. And that's the way that I've been trying to deal with it. I do try to play my games. This is me personally. I do try to play my games and get done what I'm playing or get done the multiplayer that I'm playing. I try to do that now. If I put a game in, I try to do it. I really do. There are a few games that do get away. Like, I do need to get back to Grid Autosport. I do need to get back to like RE6, RE5, RE6 on the PS3. Like, I need to get back to all those. But for the most part, I've been trying to complete the multiplayer and the single player independent of each other, but I've been trying to do that and play that game until I get that done. And whether that means I play the game back to back to back every single day until it's done, or I do it one day a week, as long as I'm making progress, it makes me feel good. And it is what it is. Like Operation 7, right? Like it's the weirdest thing boosting games and playing games like this, because you have this weird feeling one day where you're like, yeah, I want to get back and make progress to that. And then you play it for 2 hours and you're like, yeah, I really, why did I tell myself that? Like the window's looking good right now. But you push through that day, and when the day ends, you say, I'm brain dead right now. Not playing this for, whatever, another week. Putting it down for a week, and I'll come back in a week and I'll put some more time into it. But you got to remember, the coming back is the part that is the hardest part, but it's the most important part, because if you don't come back, you never make that progress. So long story short, answer to your comment of how you get through these games is moderation. Just moderation, taking it day by day, and don't force yourself to continue to just play a game back to back to back to finish it as fast as possible, because sometimes finishing it as fast as possible will be the worst way to do it. Yeah, you will get it done as fast as possible, but you're going to hate every single second you play it. Compared to if you do it in moderation, you may enjoy it for an hour, but the next 4 hours suck. But guess what? You enjoyed one of those total 5 hours that you played, compared to if you played it for 10 hours or 20 hours in one span, and you hated it the first hour, but you hated every 19 hours after. Now you only liked one of the 20 hours that you played, compared to the one of the 5 hours that you played before in your moderation. So I would say moderation. Stick with moderation. Try to get games done. And if you have the drive to do it, then do it, but don't overdo it. Once you start feeling a certain way, just finish it out for that night and just move on. Give yourself a few days, give yourself some breathing room, go play another game, make progress towards another game, and kind of get there. That's why I kind of try to have a few games in a rotation that I kind of go through. Sometimes I don't, and I just, I'll just bang out whatever I need to bang out. But my moderation comes through playing single player or multiplayer. So I may be playing Need for Speed Shift next single player, but I'm going to always have a multiplayer game in the background that I'll be working on, whether it's Max Payne or Grand Theft Auto or BioShock 2 or what's other games on the PS3. That's kind of my moderation, and moderating both of those to me is how I get through some of my boosts, because I don't want to sit here and boost a game all day, every day. I really don't. If I have to, I will, but this is really not the way I want to do it. I would rather boost, play a little single player, play a little more single player, boost again, play a little, and do it like that. That's how I would ideally get through things that I do. But yeah, moderation, man, moderation. And another thing, which, is, the big picture is, playing shit games. Playing games like Rage 2, or like Rage, or any shit game. Any of these games that you don't like, you playing them is an experience, because now you know what you won't like going into other games. But you also need to look at all of the tiny little things, and well, you don't need to, but it's good to look at everything that the game has to offer and all the tiny things that the game has to offer, and that's how you find the joy in playing them. And sometimes games don't have that, sadly, but sometimes that is something that you kind of have to look through. When it comes to games that you thought you would like, but you end up not liking when you play them, I mean, it's tough. It really is. And if that's the case, you either put the game down forever, or you do the moderation and you kind of just work through it, and you start to look at those small things, and you start to enjoy little aspects of the game. May not have to be the game as a whole, but little aspects. And then over time, guess what? You'll get it done. You may not get it done the fastest, but you'll get it done. The other aspect, which I would not suggest, is just put the game down. Or I guess you could go full head on and play nothing but the game. But if you do that, you're in the same realm as putting the game down. Yeah, you're going to make progress, but you're literally going to hate yourself. And then you're going to run yourself out of trophy hunting. You're going to run yourself out of gaming because you're going to say, why did I play that game? I hated every second I played it. So it's going to be a whole process. So again, can't say it enough. Word of the day, moderation. Space things out. And I promise you, not just in gaming, anything in life, I promise you, if it's something that you want to get done, but you don't want to do it, if you space it out and you do moderation, you will enjoy doing it sometimes. Not all the times, but you'll enjoy doing it sometimes. And at the end of the day, you will get things done that either you need or want to get done, that you don't actually want to do, or you're not enjoying. But anyway, that's that. I know I said, wow, my last trophy talk was 52 minutes. I don't want to go there. I'm going on 51. Look at me. This is what I always do, man. I'm literally the rambler. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. I know that we got into a little bit of a deep topic there. I don't mind those deep topics. So if you have any topics that you want me to discuss in upcoming trophy talks, you can leave those all down in the comments below. They will be discussed in the upcoming or next trophy talk. Down in the description below, you will find links to all types of stuff: my Twitter, my Twitch, Discord server, podcast, platinum trophies, all types of stuff. So if you want to go check any of that stuff out, it's all linked down in the description below. I would greatly appreciate it if you check anything else out. Again, if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, leave those down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. If you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing for more trophy content like this. And I hope to see you all around sometime soon.